I have our Minister of Transportation, Mr. Omar Alghabra, with me, and most of the time he is busy in Ottawa, but right now he is in his Mississauga office and talking to us right from there. Mr. Alghabra, welcome to Parvasi Television, Parvasi Media Group.
Rajinder, thank you. It's great to be back on Parvasi. I know what a service you provide to our community, and it's always an honor for me to be with you on your show.
Okay, and same here. Okay, so government has announced, particularly you have announced that passengers in Canada will be having more rights, and government is taking a lot of other measures to give more rights to the passengers in case of delays or any other issues. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, Rajinder, you might remember you and I also talked about this last year as we were coming out of COVID. We saw a lot of disruptions and congestion in the air travel sector.
Yes.
We saw a lot of cancellations, delays, luggage being lost because there was a surge and there were not enough people to service people who wanted to travel. I worked very hard. Our government worked really hard to manage the situation. But what I also promised Canadians then is that we're going to learn some lessons from that period.
Okay.
And we're going to act on those lessons. So we took decisions to really introduce a suite of measures, a variety of measures. One of them was something I announced a couple of weeks ago, is that now we are strengthening the protections for passengers.
Okay.
We had some rights for passengers before, but what we saw last year has really exposed some vulnerabilities, some weakness in the system. Mm-hmm. And the new rules that we are announcing today strengthen those rights, makes sure that the passenger is protected. It puts onus on the airlines. The airlines now are going to be more responsible for delivering on the commitment they made to their passengers. So so now the airline has to deal with the complaint within 30 days. Mm-hmm. They have the responsibility. It's a mandatory thing to compensate the customer for things that they're responsible for.
Okay.
And we're making also, if the customer chooses to go to the Canadian Transportation Agency with the complaint, we're improving the process for the complaint. So it happens very much faster than before.
Okay, so Canadian Transportation Agency is going to be the body for any kind of resolution in case there is any dispute.
That's correct. First, though, we're now putting the onus on the airline. Ideally for me, I don't want complaints. I want the airlines to fulfill their obligation to their passenger.
Okay.
And now with clearer rules, I think the airlines will find better ways to service their customers better. So second, if a customer files a complaint first with the airline, because they first have to go to the airline saying, you owe me this much because you didn't deliver on what you promised me. The airline now has an obligation to compensate the customer within 30 days.
Okay.
But if the airline refuses, the customer can go to the CTA. But we created incentives for the airlines not to let the customer go to CTA, because now what we said to the airline, if the customer goes to the CTA, the airline will have to pay for the processing of the complaint at the CTA.
Okay, on top of that.
On top of that. Okay. So there's an incentive now for the airlines. Not only do they have to do it within 30 days, but that it's much more efficient for them to compensate the customer. And again, yes, you're right. If the customer is not happy with the airline's response, they can go to the CTA. The complaint now, it's much faster, will be when the new rules come into effect, much faster and much more efficient.
Okay, I hope your ministry will be advertising or making people aware of how they can reach out to CTA what is the procedure? Because as far as I know, our immigrant communities, the most of them rely upon their travel agents. At the most, they will go back to the travel agents that, look, this is the issue, you have to deal with that. People are mostly buying tickets through travel agents, these are travel agencies. But we see now the young crowd, young generation, they are buying online. They know, they are more aware of their rights. But what for those people, Minister?
Well, Rajinder, that's why I'm actually coming on shows like yours, because
Okay,
I know you have a wide reach within newcomers community. But to your point, absolutely. Let me just be very clear. The rules have not taken effect yet. We already have the rules. The old rules are already in place.
okay,
And the new rules, some of them will come into effect by September, some hopefully by the end of the year or early next year.
okay,
And then we're reaching out to travel agents. We're reaching out, the Canadian Transportation Agency will promote these rules and on their website, through social media. I will do the same. The government of Canada will do the same. So absolutely, we will go, and I'll come back again on your show to
always
tell
welcome.
Canadians about it.
Okay, we are always welcome. Okay, now the other thing, during COVID and after COVID, there was a great rush on the airports, and particularly we saw so many issues at Pearson Airport. But good news we're getting now is that things are quite normal. Not only normal, they're getting better now. So, you have any update on that?
Sure, and that's again, part of what I promise Canadians, that we'll take action on lessons learned. It's not just on airline rights, but it's also the budget announced new investment in CATSA. So now CATSA will have more resources so they can upgrade their equipment. By the way, CATSA now at Pearson is implementing a new program for those who have a Nexus card. Now you don't have to take your fluids out. You don't have to take your laptop out of your bag. It's much faster. We are also the budget also introduced measures to collect more data from airports, from airlines, from NAV Canada. So we are implementing new measures that will make the system even more efficient and more fluid. But to your point, a lot has happened since last year. I am optimistic that this summer we're going to see a dramatic difference from the way it was last summer. Airlines and airports hired more people, trained more people. We now have new processes. You saw CBSA now use automated gates. ArriveCan makes it easier for people to process at immigration. As I said, and we're investing in CATSA there. We're taking a lot of measures. Air Canada now is using this new technology. When boarding a plane, it uses facial identification. So we're using so many tools to improve the efficiency and the fluidity for the traveling public.
Okay, I have heard there is a new technology being adopted, implemented to screen people. As you said, when people go through the security measures, there's a pilot program going on, and we have artificial intelligence. We have so many new techniques where we can save time and save hassle. So I believe Toronto Airport is adopting that too.
Absolutely. And, you see some of that technology today, but you're going to see a lot more in the coming couple of years. You'll see airports, CATSA, CBSA use more technology, use smarter tools to make things faster and more convenient. So yes, I am quite optimistic about what we learned over the last couple of years and how we're more going to improve the experience for passengers at airports.
Okay, summer vacations are the time when we have the maximum rush at the inflow at the airports, and particularly Toronto airport. And then comes the Christmas time, again the busiest time. So I believe the kind of system they are adopting now, things will be easier in future now. Okay, so before you go, most important question for all the listeners is that flight from Amritsar to Toronto, Amritsar to Vancouver. So Neo Airline, they have started their flights once in a week. Already they have started, and people are while not happy with that, but we are expecting more and more flights. You told us last time you're talking to your counterparts in India. So any update on that?
Yes, Rajinder, thank you for the opportunity to speak about this, because I know how important this issue is to your viewers and to me,
Okay.
and to many of my colleagues in the Liberal Party, in the Government of Canada. We have been working on this for the last while. And let me remind your viewers, we need the approval of the Indian government in order for us to have direct flights to the Punjab or to Amritsar. Right now, the air transport agreement that we have with India does not permit Canadian airlines to land in Amritsar. So I've raised this issue on multiple occasions with Indian officials, including the Minister of Civil Aviation, Minister Scindia. Just this week, we have the Minister of Commerce, the Indian Minister of Commerce, Minister Goyal, visit Canada. We are in the middle of discussions with India about a variety of trade issues. I had a chance to sit down with him and tell him, look, this continues to be a priority for our government. We would like to find a way to work with you on enabling Canadian airlines to land in Amritsar. He assured me that they are considering this very seriously,
Okay.
and we committed to work together on it. I still don't have an answer, but I tell you, and I want your viewers to know this, I am personally committed to doing everything as a country we can to create this opportunity for Canadians. And I'll tell you, we already have some success, like you said. Last year, because of our advocacy, we increased the volume or the number of flights to India. It used to be 21 a week. Now we have no limits. So depending in the summer, you're going to have a lot more flights to accommodate the volume, the interest. You know, a lot of Canadians have families in India who they want to visit and families who want to come. We have students who are coming. We have businesses back and forth. This is good news, but I know we have one more thing to do, which is direct flights to the Punjab.
Okay, thank you, Minister. And before you go, I want to share another good news with our listeners, that people like you, people like Mary Ing, Ahmed Hussain, Pablo Roderick, there's a long list of ministers in the Liberal Party's cabinet, Liberal government's cabinet, who were born in some other country. They came here when they were too young or in middle of their age, but they came, they joined politics, and now they are ministers. And same is with your new president. Sumit Mehra, his family came here, and I had an opportunity to talk to him. So it's great honor for people like us, South Asian people, newcomers, Canadians, immigrant, whatever we say, that a person like him has been chosen as the new president to run the party.
Indeed, Rajinder, look, you're talking about our newly elected president of the Liberal Party, the Federal Liberal Party. His name is Sashit Mehra, and he is a fantastic representation of what it is for the South Asian community. Let me just say this. Canada is the greatest country on earth. And one of the reasons why Canada is the greatest country on earth is because it invites immigrants from all over the world without judgment, without discrimination, without biases, and it gives everyone the opportunity. And that's why then Canada becomes lucky to have all that talent that comes from all over the world, where people like me and the others you mentioned are able to contribute. And then with hard work, with persistence, we will have representation at high levels of government, in different members of society, like journalists like yourself, in law, in academia, in business. This is what Canada is about. It is the greatest country on earth, but it's not perfect, but it's still the greatest country on earth.
That's very true, Minister. Thank you so much. And whenever you implement these new laws, please come back and give us more information so that we can share with our listeners, our viewers.
I look forward to it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great to see you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.